Hey folks, welcome to my stream. I've done a couple streams before, but the act of streaming can be a bit distracting, and I must say that every one of my previous streams has ended in a bloody crash. So I'm hoping that you will give me a little bit better luck today as I try to fly a route that I'm very familiar with and a plane that I'm pretty familiar with. And hopefully, those added benefits will help me have a successful stream. And it's hoping that it is something that you can enjoy, you can get something from, and that you feel like you can come back and do it again. So I'm going to push this YouTube video control box off the main screen. We are here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, CYVR. It has been snowing in the Pacific Northwest. I know that my home state of Washington got its heaviest snowfall in 54 years. Just amazing. So, strangely enough, we're parked here at a place without a gate. How are we going to remedy that? Well, I'll tell you what. I will try to see if I can get some air stairs working, and if we don't have any air stairs, then I'm just going to move to a different gate. Any stairs on the way? I don't see them in our immediate future. Well, let's take a look over here. Maybe I can tell you what I want to do. Let's go to the drone camera. And we'll run right over here next to my Southwest buddy. He looks like he's going to Arizona, so he's going a whole lot warmer place. Looks like gate 31 has some stairs. If you've never been to Vancouver Airport, I'm originally from Seattle, so I'm not monstrously familiar with Vancouver, but fairly well. I call the control tower, if you look at the control tower, I call it a palm tree with the plumes plucked off. That's what it's always looked like to me. And HSBC Bank is very heavy into sponsoring these jet bridges, so you can see they've done it here. Let's move to gate number 31. And 31 will give us a jet bridge, and we'll board this aircraft properly. I've also been fiddling with the controls, make the controls a little bit less awkward and less bouncy. Any of you folks who fly an X-plane, you know that they have a different camera system, and I kind of envy that X-plane camera system. I wish Microsoft had one that was similar. Okay, there's 33, 34, and 31. 31 is the one we want. We'll set it as departure, and let's go fly. Couple of add-ons I'm using today. Two of them are written by a company called FS2 Crew. They include Pushback Express, which will help us with our pushback. It'll also give us a virtual ground crew and some ground handling options. The other add-on is called A320 Crew. This gives me a virtual cabin crew and, most importantly, a virtual first officer. The first officer can help me run some checklists and really kicks up the immersion level. In their advertising, one of the things they market, they say, you know, you don't fly alone in the real world. Why should you fly alone in a simulator? And that is so true. When you can bounce a checklist off of another person and have real life crew dynamic, in my opinion, really kicks up the immersion level. And one more thing, it is a program called Pilot to ATC for air traffic control. Not only will this handle air traffic control, but the virtual first officer there can help me with the radios. As you can see, the weather hasn't changed. It's still snowy. It's still rain. And unusual weather they're having in the Pacific Northwest. We now do have a jet bridge. So let's get it attached. Our plane belongs to the government of Germany, specifically the German Luftwaffe, or German Air Force. So let's say we're making a diplomatic flight from Canada down to the United States. Maybe we're on a diplomatic tour. Let's get some power. And even though they're diplomats, I'm sure they have luggage, so we'll get the bags aboard. Quick flight today down to Seattle. I don't think we're going to be climbing any higher than, let's connect up pilot to ATC. Don't think we're going to be flying any higher than 19,000 feet. We really don't have a need to go. As soon as external power was put on, we got that radio from the previous flight crew. Must have left it on the ATIS channel. I'm unable to change the radio station down here. I think I need to go in the aircraft and get some power on it before I'm able to do that. So let's do that. Let's go hop aboard. We'll turn on the batteries. External power. And before I go too crazy, let's get down here and handle that radio. Okay, that should relieve our radio burden for right now. First thing I want to do is to let folks on the ground know that there is activity on this aircraft, but they still can work. So I'm going to turn on the nav and logo lights, turn on the wing lights. I'm going to hold off on the beacon. The beacon will tell the ground crew to get out of the way, and we don't want that signal sent right away. We'll turn the strobe lights to auto. Then I'm going to arm the interior emergency exit lights so anyone in the cabin can find the exits quickly. Turn on the no smoking sign. Turn on the seatbelt sign. Oh, we're having a little interruption here. Okay, I'm going to get the cabin crew is going to start the work of getting the aircraft set up. I'm going to turn on the integrity lights here, get those cranked up. Okay, lights look good. We don't have the APU started yet, so we're not going to get any bleed air to work our packs and get our air conditioning going. But let's say that we have low pressure air coming to the aircraft through the jet bridge. I'm going to turn up the cabin temperature dials in anticipation of that bleed air. We'll get the ADIR set up. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. And I'll do a fire test on the APU. We'll test the cargo smoke detector. Those tests check out. And I'm going to do an annunciator light test. I'm going to turn on every light in the house. So let's go around and check for bulbs. Any burnout bulbs, any burned out LED elements. Anything that might not be working properly. We'll give a good thorough check. Wonderful, that seems to be okay. Let's turn off that annunciator test switch. We'll turn on the crew oxygen supply. We're going to hold off on the fuel pumps until we're ready to start the APU. So for right now, we're looking great upstairs. Turn up this reading light here a little bit. Just get a little extra illumination. And everything here looks good. Down to our flight management computer, let's go to our ATSU and our company menu. We don't need much fuel. We've got 9460 kilos on board. We only need 1285, so I'm going to deload some of that fuel. Now we're at 5,000 kilos. Probably the airplane won't take less than that. We sure don't. 5,070 is our block fuel number. Let's go to the second page of the weight and balance sheet. You can see here we're page 1 of 2. We'll go to 2 of 2. And 184 passengers were a pretty full load. There's our baggage load, our zero fuel center of gravity, and our zero fuel weight. We're going to load that into the aircraft. Then I'm going to go to the data page, aircraft status, verify our engines, verify our AIRAC cycle, and our secondary AIRAC cycle. You know, that's a little old. It's a little out of date, but we'll say that it's okay because it's the only AIRAC cycle we have. On to initialization screen. We're going to initialize the request, pulling the information off of our filed flight plan. Here you can see we're heading from Vancouver. Vancouver to Seattle. Flight number 43. I'm going to give our cost index 85 because I like a nice high cost index. It's a little less efficient. You get us there a little faster. Flight number is 43. Next page. You can see by the arrows, the flip-flops between 2 pages, we can pull our center of gravity and our zero fuel weight from our operational flight plan. There it is. We know our block fuel is 5,000 kilos, so we'll enter that in. And the flight computer, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Not sure what I did there. Transition altitude 18,000 feet. Flex temp 56 today. Flaps setting 1. Trim setting down 0.2. Let's not sure if I can. Let's see if I can get a good look at that throttle. Yeah, I don't like this angle. That's a better angle, I think. Up 1, there's 0, there's down 1, and there's down 2. Okay. Brake set. Thrust levers to idle. Landing gear handle down. Time to get a clearance. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Need to get a flight plan in here first. I'm on the fly creating a very fast flight plan, CYVR KSEA, and I will import that. Such a quick little flight. I don't expect to have, I'll probably have a star for arrival, standard arrival route into Seattle, but I most likely won't have a SID for Vancouver, and that's fine. Maybe one waypoint would be nice. Validate that, and file. Okay. Six left. Two six left for the departure. Roach is our one waypoint, and Seattle, again, if this were a longer flight, you could do this in the air, but since the flight is so short, we're going to be coming down Puget Sound to the south, making a U-turn, and then landing to the north on runway 34 right. So let's, I believe it's the Mariner 7 arrival. Let's choose 34 right. And the Mariner 7. And if we're offered the Roach transition, that would be great. If it's not available, which it doesn't seem to be, we'll go Novias. And that will be, oh, what's this Buhner doing up here? I don't like that Buhner. Transition none. Okay, now we do not have that Buhner in there. So no via, no transition. That's what we want. While I'm here, I'm going to crank up these couple of rheostats, kick up the light level a little bit on this gloomy day. Our work with the McDo is complete. I'm going to turn on the flight director, turn on the constraints on both sides. And I think it's time to run a checklist with our virtual first officer. I think our German flight crew has spent too much time in Germany, and they don't know that we're in North America now. So instead of using hectopascals, we'll need to change the altitude conversation into inches of mercury, which is the United States standard. And then while I'm here, let's go to our performance page and put in the correct V speeds. 137, 133, and 132 from bottom to top. And I believe the rest of this should be okay. Let's turn on our progressive wind shear switch. We'll arm the speed brakes, and we will hit the max brakes. We don't have RTO or rejected takeoff brakes as we do in the Boeing, but the Airbus equivalent is max brakes. We're looking pretty good. Let's check in with our virtual ground crew, see how they're doing. Flight deck to ground. We will be ready shortly. Confirm all ground checks are complete and we are cleared to pressurize the hydraulics. Thank you. Let's take a look outside. My goodness, our jet bridge has become unattached. And right at a time when we're supposed to be boarding passengers. Baggage loading is complete. The only door open is the left front cabin door. Let's start the APU. Before we start the APU, we'll kick on the fuel pumps. There have been cases where someone has forgotten to turn on the fuel pumps. It's actually not the end of the world. The fuel can feed by gravity, as you certainly would never intentionally leave the fuel pumps off. We've done an APU fire test. Now let's do an engine fire test. Engine 2, that's fine. Engine 1, that's fine. We'll hit the master APU switch. We'll turn the beacon on, warn folks around the outside of the airplane that they should cease with their activity, as we're going to have hot exhaust coming out from the back of the APU. 1, 2, 3, and start. We'll turn the APU bleed on. That will give us high pressure air for the engine start, and it'll give us low pressure air to feed our pack system and get our air conditioning up to snuff. We're looking good up here. Time to get a clearance. Luftwaffe 43, ruined that one. Vancouver clearance delivery. Luftwaffe 43, ready to copy. They're thinking about it. .4040 on the squawk. We went to traffic advisory mode and into the automatic mode. My last flight with this might have been in Europe. I do kind of alternate between North America and Europe, and I may have not changed the altimeter setting back to hectopascals. When she gave us our clearance, I noticed she used hectopascals instead of inches of mercury. We're in Canada, so I'm going to select use decimal instead of point, which is the standard for Canada. And I don't see a way of changing that altimeter setting, so I will not worry about it too much. Okay. Weather. Nope, I don't see it here. Okay, well, not to worry about it. We can handle a simple conversion of the metric system. Well, we've got to be moving pretty far along in our loading process. How are we looking here? Not too bad. Now that we have the load sheet, we'll go ahead and lock the cabin door. We're on the APU. We're done with the external power, so let's tell him he can go home. Just a minute or so left, and we'll get our last minute stragglers on board. You folks are diplomats. You should know what time means. You folks are Germans. Germans are famous for being meticulous about time. Aren't they the ones who make the cuckoo clocks? Oh, well, maybe that's the Swiss. Oh, well. Let's get the final folks on board, and let's close up this airplane. Cleared to close, just what I like to hear. You can see now not only is the jet bridge pulling away, but our cabin door also closed. Vancouver ground, Luftwaffe-for tree, requests pushback and engine start. We are ready for pushback and engine start. Flight deck to ground. Flight deck to ground. We are ready for pushback and engine start. Parking brakes off. Looks like our cabin crews got their safety briefing on a TV video. That's modern technology. We don't get to hear it here in the cabin anymore. That's kind of bad, but it is what it is. I do believe that aircraft is a little close. I trust the tug driver. He knows what he's doing. Parking brake is set. Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals. Taxi lights on. Runway turn-off lights on. APU bleed off. APU off. We can move the transponder into the TARA position. Your turn. Vancouver ground. Lufthansa 4 tree. Request taxi. Runway 26 step climb to our next altitude. We're only planning flight level 190. Just enough to cross over transition altitude, but not monstrously high. This is Payware scenery. I'm loving these references to Air Canada Jazz here in Vancouver. Seems I can't control the airplane while I'm in showcase view, so it's not a very wise idea to go to that while you're moving. That's a shame. I would have liked to have stayed in showcase view for a little bit. Showcase view is the quote-unquote drone view. It gives you quite a bit of external freedom. Well, we're getting this configuration warning about parking brake on. I don't believe it is. Speed brake not retracted. Well, that could be true. Oh, there we go. Vancouver ground, Lufthansa 4. I'm sorry. Vancouver ground, Lufthansa. I'm sorry, it is not Lufthansa. Vancouver ground, Luftwaffe-for, ready for departure, runway 26 right. Oh, that's a good idea. Vancouver tower, Luftwaffe-for, ready for departure, runway 26 right. I don't